This is One Fat Boy, and here are my NBA game predictions for March 6th. Tonight there's 8 games. We'll go over the spreads and over-unders for each of them. For Brooklyn at Boston, we'll go with Boston minus 3.5. I think Boston just has been more consistent than the Nets, even with Durant back. I'm sure Durant wants to get his first win, especially against Boston. That'd be a big one, but I think just the way Boston's playing, much more consistent than what Brooklyn has been putting forth. So, hence why I'd go with Boston. I think if Brooklyn just gets down by too much, or at any point in the game, they kind of lose faith. While Boston, I think there's more grit in them, which is actually surprising considering years past. But with how they've been playing, and Tatum and actually passing the ball around, turns into winning basketball. I will be going over 218.5 as if Boston does get it a larger lead, that means the Nets just kind of fall apart on defense, so Boston will be able to rack up points. But overall, I think both teams should be able to score. I will say this will probably be in a range of between 210 and 225 the total points, even though that is kind of a larger range. But just kind of place your over-unders kind of in that range if you want to get a more accurate one. But I'll just lean towards over 218.5. For the Suns at Milwaukee, so I'm leaning towards Phoenix plus 7. With Milwaukee, just how they play, and just has been seen over and over. All their games are close, so seeing them as a 7-point favorite, I don't see them covering 7 points. I don't see Phoenix, Phoenix still could win, but I think losing by more than 7, if I'm Milwaukee, I want to beat the Western Conference champions of last year in your own building. That just makes sense to me. But knowing how Milwaukee plays, they'll just go down to the wires. That's what it always turns into for a Milwaukee game. I will be going over 220.5 as the Bucks defense, it just gives up points. It's just what they do. Even though they can play defense, they just choose not to. That's what I've been seeing. And the Suns, they'll be able to get their offense. It's more of a system, and not so much who's playing, even though it does help if you have your 2 best players. But this is how the system works. It keeps them in games. So just expect that. Expect a closer game, even though this is a game that the Bucks should win pretty easily, but the Suns will manage to keep it close. For the Pacers at Washington, going with Indiana plus 3. I just think right now Washington's one of the bottom tier teams, and I think Indiana, it's not too far behind, but they're a little bit above Washington, so hence I just have to lean towards Indiana. I really don't have any faith in the Wizards at all. So hence why I'll be leaning towards Indiana, and I'd probably just take them for a win too. I'll be going over 218.5 as both the teams' defenses, it's not really what they're known for. Probably a little more known for their offense for both two teams. So hence I'll lean towards an over in this game. You probably go 222 over, but I'll just lean towards over 218.5 as just a little safer, as neither team has defensive stoppers. They have more offensive players. For Memphis at Houston, we'll be going with Memphis minus 11. I think even who's ever on Memphis, they just play harder than Houston, and just having more possessions, just having the ball more often than the other team. They'll put up more shot attempts and all that. That's what it's going to happen in this game. Memphis is going to outwork Houston, and it's going to probably start early on in the game. And no reason for Memphis to lose this game. They should be able to cover 11 points. That shouldn't be a problem for them. As long as Memphis can defend the outside shooting by Houston, Memphis has this game in the bag, because with their inside presence, outside shooting is how they're able to attack on offense and just get a lot of points. And their pressure on defense, there's just a lot of ticks, ticking the checkbox for the Memphis to win this game. I will be going under 237.5 as I think Memphis' defense will lead them to victory, as they should hold Houston probably to the low 100s, which that would mean Memphis would have to score 130. But if you believe Memphis will be having over 125, then I would lean towards an over. But I think 125, 135 points, that's a lot of points for one team to score. For Utah at Thunder, Going with OKC plus 13. I think Utah, they're a decent team, but covering a 13-point spread against the Thunder, who can play defense, they can just keep themselves in games that they shouldn't be in, but they figure out a way. And I think that will happen in this game against Utah, as they're just crafty. And Utah, they literally they have to play defense somehow on the wings, because their internal defense is fine, but it's just not relying so heavily on them, just trying to stop the initial push. And if you believe that the Jazz can play solid defense against the Thunder and get going from three, then yeah, take the Jazz minus 13. But I think the Jazz are going to falter in one of that, and then I think the Thunder are just going to play their brand of basketball, which is just hardworking, able just to get offense, move the ball around, and play some solid D. That'll just keep them in the game. In which if the Thunder are going to be within 13, I think it's going to be an under game. It'll still be high scoring because it's a Jazz, but it'll be an under, which I'll be going with under 226, as Thunder not known for their scoring, more known for their defense. So that's why I'm leaning towards an under. For Toronto at Cleveland, we go with Cleveland minus 4. I think Cleveland's been more consistent than Toronto, so hence why I just have to go with Cleveland. With Garland back for a few games, he's back in the rhythm, and with just the big men of the Cleveland, I think hard for Toronto to stop. Plus, you're playing in Cleveland too, so another factor for Cleveland to win. I'll be going under 218.5, as Cleveland does play really good defense, and Toronto, their offense kind of sporadic, as they did struggle against the Magic. I'm sure they will play a better game against the Cleveland, but having the offensive struggle against the Magic, I see they're going to struggle against Cleveland, as Cleveland's defense one of the best in the league. So hence why I'm leaning towards an under. You could almost probably go under 214.5 to 215, but under 218.5 seems the safest bet, a safer bet. For the Pelicans at the Nuggets, we go with the Pelicans plus 3. As past few games, Pelicans have been playing like they are one of the best teams in the league. And Denver, they'll have Jokic back, so he'll be rested. Well, if he does come back. But even if Jokic is back, I think the way that New Orleans has been playing, how McCollum, Ingram, and Valanciunas has been playing, that's a trio that's hard to stop right now, as you just pass the ball to Ingram, he can create his own shot, McCollum can create his own shot, then you just have a 7-foot big man who can shoot an outside shot. That's someone you have to respect too. So a lot of people have to respect on the Pelicans, and they'll probably keep the game close or give the Pelicans a win, as Denver, their role players have to step up, because you can't put it all on Jokic to win the game. So I think just with having more tools, the Pelicans should be able to cover the spread. Both teams, I think, are more offensive teams, so hence I'll be leaning towards an over in this game, and I'll be putting it 219.5. If you really think Denver's defense really is going to show up, and you expect Jokic to go off to put it even higher for over 223.5, 224, but I think 219.5 is reasonable. For the Knicks at the Clippers, we're with the Clippers minus 4. So the Knicks, I think this should be a close game overall, as most Clipper games are, except when they play the Lakers last game. But overall, most Clipper games will be close, and same with the Knicks. But the Knicks will just figure out a way how to choke the game in the end. And the Clippers are not known for choking games, so hence I'll just be leaning towards a Clippers win. In minus 4, it's I can see them having 2-3 point lead at the end of the game. Just free throws will cover that minus 4. I'll be going under 218.5, as the Knicks, their offense hasn't been playing much better, but I still view them as a more defensive team. And same with the Clippers. I think they can clamp down on defense too, and they're not playing extremely up and down. But overall, I say this is one of those games where it's between 207 points and 220 points. So hence I'll just be leaning towards an under, but you could do an over 211 or 208. But I'll just lean towards an under. I expect defense to be the leading force in this game. Thank you for watching. As always, have fun betting, have fun watching sports, and once again, thank you for watching.